Hi, Mystic Travelers. It's me, Jazz. And today's question is weird, but I'm sure you're used to that by now. What if the universe is a hologram? Now, we've heard this said, but what does that actually mean? What would that indicate? Let's talk about it. There's been some scientific studies and stuff that say that our entire reality is projected from the end of the universe. You have a piece of film, like for a camera, like video, or for a picture, right? There's a single image, and if you were to cut a quarter of that image off, then you'd be missing a quarter of the picture, right? Well, holographic film doesn't work that way. Each section of the holographic film contains the entire hologram. Once again, don't ask me how or why that works. But when it comes to the concept of talking about a holographic universe, it kind of corresponds to the idea of non-duality, right? So if this is a holographic universe, then I, one piece of the holographic film, contains the entire universe, just like a paper cup, just like you, right? It reminds me of like the entire universe. Who was it? Was it Longfellow who said like to see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, hold eternity in the palm of your hand and infinity in an hour. I might have gotten that wrong. Then it would prove non-duality, right? That you can be both yourself and everything all at once, both separate and the same, both separate and part of the whole. If we're talking about this as simulation theory, I encourage you to watch my simulation theory video, because I don't think that simulation is what we would think it would be if you're thinking thought experiment wise. I also think that if everything is a projection and we are, like we always talk about, like the fractals, the microcosm matches the macro, and as above so below is religion, then what we do is extraordinary. It has an extraordinary influence. And I know that like Dr. Donald Hoffman and other people who are in the fields of consciousness are talking more and more about how consciousness kind of projects outward, like that our brains aren't the holders of consciousness, but rather the almost like the radio of consciousness, like we're gathering the signals of consciousness, right? One of the experiments he did, why is it that when you're standing there and someone looks at you from behind, you have no way of knowing there's a person there, you have no way of knowing, how is it that you can sense you're being stared at? And he did a bunch of practical experiments about it. I would definitely encourage you to look up that stuff if you're interested in it. Thinking about the holographic universe in terms of non-duality, I think really brings it to another level. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Please leave your comments below. And if you have any questions you want me to explore, mystical, metaphysical, technological, otherwise, please just let me know. This is my bread and butter. I do this every day, whether I'm sharing it or not. So I'll see you soon.